Another teaser for Endgame has dropped, and it's got a little bit more information, and we can start to piece together what the trailers are telling us about the film. Now, these may be misleading, may be purposefully done this way to put people off the trail, and there may be scenes that don't really appear in the film, or they may be cut in ways to make it misleading. So, just because they're sort of in the trailer doesn't mean it's really going to happen, but we can kind of analyze and see what it looks like they're at least telling us they want us to think is going to happen in the film.
He used the stones again.
So the surviving Avengers have discovered somehow these used the stones. Maybe it's they've tracked more people have suddenly died, but somehow they think that the stones have been activated again, which means that maybe they're concerned that Thanos' gauntlet was all messed up after he did the snap, and his arm was all messed up as well. So maybe they had an original thought of getting the gauntlet back and undoing it, but obviously they thought maybe that couldn't be done because it was all damaged, and here they've sort of confirmed that it's not damaged and that they can in fact use the gauntlet maybe.
So let's get him. Use them to bring everyone back.
And there Captain Marvel basically outlines the plot of the film, or at least the plot of the very, very start of the film. They're going to go fight Thanos, get the gauntlet back, and undo the snap, which is probably what everybody thought would be the general gist of the film. Whether that is what happens or not, completely unknown. But we've already got the start of the film right there. We're going to go fight Thanos, and we're going to get the gauntlet back to undo everything. So how does this fit in with what we've seen so far? Well, we've got this footage here from the end credit scene from Captain Marvel, and we can see they're sort of tracking how many people are dead. We've got a number over 3 billion there for the Earth's population, so that's getting near half. And it's sort of counting up, so it's probably not tracking dead bodies, but sort of missing people. But we've got Captain America there with his beard still on, as he had it at the end of Infinity War. But in all of the footage and all the trailers so far for Endgame, he has not got the beard, so he's presumably shaved off his beard somewhere near the start. There is a scene where he's near a kind of shaver and a mirror, so it kind of looks like he maybe shaved it there. But a little bit of time has went by between the Captain Marvel end credit scene and Endgame. Maybe not much, but enough time to shave off a beard. And again, from the Captain Marvel end credit scene, we've got Black Widow there with the short blonde hair, same hair she had at the end of Infinity War, and the same hair she has in some of the scenes in the trailers. And once again, we've got Captain America there with his beard. And from the very end of that scene in Captain Marvel, we've got Captain Marvel meeting the Avengers and saying, "Where's Fury?" We can see Captain Marvel's got longer hair than she had in the rest of Captain Marvel. It's sort of grown out a bit. She needs to get it dyed a bit up the top. She can see the black roots. And she's wearing a uniform there, okay? And you can see, once again, we have the short hair for the Black Widow. And then here we have Captain Marvel changed uniform. Okay, she's put some makeup on, and maybe her hair's changed a little bit, but that's probably just a continuity error, not something that was supposed to happen. But she's put on some makeup and she's taken the suit off, so at least a few minutes or an hour has went by, or maybe some days have went by since she's first met up with the Avengers. But a little bit of time's went by, and again that shows that Captain America's got rid of his beard and she's taken her uniform off. We've then got the 4 Avengers there. We've got Rocket and we've got Captain Marvel on a spaceship flying off to somewhere. Presumably they're on their way to go get the gauntlet off Thanos. Now what's not very clear here is what spaceship is this that they're on. Now the easy presumption to make is this is the ship from the Guardians of the Galaxy. This is the ship that we see Iron Man on, or presumably Iron Man's on the Guardians of the Galaxy ship. And so is this the same ship? Is this after they've met back up with Iron Man or not? Iron Man isn't in this scene here, Nebula's not in the scene here, and also the Hulk isn't in this scene here. So the 3 of them could be below decks, perhaps. But another possibility is this is not the ship that Iron Man is on. This is not the Guardians of the Galaxy ship. This is Captain Marvel's ship. Now, Captain Marvel can fly through space, but can she fly for a long distance? Is it comfortable to fly in a long distance? I mean, I don't know, but I'm assuming that she probably flies around in a ship for comfort and ease or whatever, rather than actually flying through space. So she does look like she can survive in space in the Captain Marvel film, but maybe she can't really transport herself over long distances at a time. So again, this ship isn't necessarily the Guardians of the Galaxy ship, the ship that presumably Iron Man and Nebula are on. This may be a very different ship that looks the same, okay, it looks very similar. There were lots of ships that look like this in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. There's no reason to think this isn't just a ship that Captain Marvel actually has, and this in no way has Tony Stark or Nebula on board. Now, where is the Hulk? Well, they've only got 6 seats here, so maybe he just can't sit up here. Maybe he's not coming along. Maybe he still can't hulk up. and he's decided to not go face Thanos. So that's another possibility, but again, they've only got 6 chairs, so there's only 6 people here. Now, if this is the correct order so far, and a lot of this is based on Scarlett Johansson's hair, or Black Widow's hair being the short blonde hair right here, we don't see Captain Marvel in any of the trailers after this point. Now, obviously the trailers show a very small portion of the film, it doesn't mean that much, but there are no more scenes with Captain Marvel at all. So Captain Marvel is definitely at the start of the film due to her meeting them up in the Captain Marvel end scenes and that. She meets them up when Captain America has a beard, and she's in this scene here. Captain America hasn't got a beard, but we've got Scarlett Johansson or Black Widow with the short blonde hair. So this is near the start of the film, but we don't see any more Captain Marvel in any of the trailers. So it doesn't mean much, but we could maybe assume that from this point on she actually dies. Now, I don't know what the possibility that is. I know a lot of people hate the Captain Marvel film and would be praying for her to die, but putting that aside, they've basically built her up to say that she's going to be the future of the MCU, and they've been talking about, she's got a 7-picture deal, but that's not been confirmed anywhere where there is a 7-picture deal. But at the same time, nobody knew if the Captain Marvel film would be any good or not any good, and she's seemingly confirmed that all of her scenes she did before she shot Captain Marvel. So she was in an interview recently, and she was talking about how it'll be good to go back and see this film, because this is the first time she played Captain Marvel in Endgame, and then she went on to do the Captain Marvel scenes afterwards. So she may have a very minor role in the film, and she may be hurt or actually killed after this point in time here. They obviously, well, from what I think right now, they obviously go and find Thanos. They fight Thanos, and the film's 3 hours long, so I'm guessing they don't defeat Thanos at that point in time. Then she's not in any more of the trailers, but everyone else here is, and they've all aged. Well, they've not all aged. Scarlett Johansson has longer hair, so you can assume that they've all maybe aged, but she is not in any more of the trailers. She's also not one of the original Avengers, so it may be that she doesn't have too much to do with the rest of the film. Now, having said that, there were some rumors going about that originally she does the death blow to Thanos and kills him, and they did a second cut of the scene showing Black Widow and Captain America doing the death blow on Thanos in case the Captain Marvel movie wasn't very popular. That's, I've not heard anyone actually confirm that. It's pure speculation. But at this stage, just going by the trailers, which again can be cut to make you think this and this is completely false, but going by the trailers, Captain Marvel is no longer seen ever again after she's piloting this ship. And she's at the front like she flies it, and she did fly, she was an Air Force pilot. So again, this may be her ship. This may not be the ship that Tony Stark is on. This could be a completely different ship that looks very similar. So where does this leave Iron Man? The first trailer had the scene with him sort of saying goodbye to Pepper Potts, and he's run out of food, and he'll be running out of oxygen soon, he'll be dead. He's on the spaceship against presumably the spaceship that the Guardians of the Galaxy used to get to fight Thanos, and presumably Nebula is on board here with him. But the assumption that's easy to make is this is from the start of the film. Okay, now that could be true, but this was in the first trailer, and I wouldn't put him past them putting this in as a head fake, and that this isn't from the start of the film. Okay, I still think there's a good chance it is from the start of the film, but again, they like putting out things in trailers to mislead people, and this is just really easy to assume this is the start of the film, and then we see that Tony Stark is rescued and he's with the team, and so it's kind of pointless. He's building up how hopeless it is and he's going to die, but we know straight away that he doesn't die here. Or do we? Is this a scene from the end of the film, or maybe the middle of the film? So it's easy to assume this is the start of the film, he's trying to get back to Earth, and it's not got enough fuel to get there, but then we know he survives this. It's kind of pointless to have this pretend build-up of, it's all hopeless and I'm going to run out of food and die, when we then see him in other trailers, and he's obviously not died here. But it might make more sense if this isn't from the start of the film. Okay, so this may not be the start of the film. This may be after Thanos is dead. Thanos may be defeated and he's escaped, or whatever. Maybe they blew up a planet with Thanos on it to kill him and he's escaped, but they've run out of food or whatever. So I think it's an easy assumption to make that this is from the start of the film, and it may not be. But let's say this is from the start of the film. So we've got him on board the ship. We're going to assume that Nebula's on board the ship, and then somehow they do in fact get back to Earth. Now, I thought that originally Captain Marvel may have a ship, and they may go with Captain Marvel in that footage that are on the ship, and they may actually be rescuing Tony Stark and Nebula. But with the new information they have, where they're actually at that point in time planning on going to go after Thanos, I don't think that's the case anymore. So I did think maybe that was a possibility with the other trailers, but with the new information, I don't think that's what's happening here. So I don't think they're going off to rescue him. Now, maybe they run along him randomly on the way to go fight Thanos the first time, or maybe they run across him after they're leaving Thanos and probably being defeated, and they rescue him that way. Maybe, I don't know, but he's obviously in a bad spot here, and somehow he gets more fuel, or maybe he uses parts to repair the ship. I think I saw somewhere, I have been trying to avoid what other people speculating, but I saw somewhere someone speculating that he might have taken apart Nebula and used parts of her body to repair the ship, and then puts it back together again when they get to Earth. Maybe that's a possibility. Maybe that's why you can't see her, because she's actually going to be used to rebuild the ship. So if we assume that was from the start of the film, we then have this scene here where he's reunited with Pepper Potts. Again, this might not be reuniting. This could be them saying goodbye after they've been reunited, but kind of looks like he's reunited with her. It's hard to tell what he's wearing, but it kind of looks like the same sort of remnants of the Iron Man suit that maybe he was wearing in Infinity War, but it's really hard to tell. But that could be a possibility here, but it's really hard to tell if that's the case. But it doesn't go against this being him coming back from fighting Thanos, and he's just got back to Earth. He's got back to somewhere near New York, and he's now hugging Pepper Potts. And you've got Nebula sitting on the stairs of a ship, again, probably that same ship, and we've got Rocket there. So if this is all at the same time, there's a river in the background, and it's got some buildings. Maybe this is New York looking over a river, maybe it isn't, it could be anywhere, but I'm going to say this is New York. And if Rocket's there, then presumably the rest of the Avengers are also there as well. So the Avengers have met up with Tony Stark and Nebula as they've just gone back to Earth. That's what it looks to me to be trying to tell us what's happening. Again, it might not be what's happening, but that's, I think, the easy assumption to make from what we see here in the trailer. We then have a more aged Tony Stark. It does look like they've put some grey in his hair here. It does look very much so like that. So maybe he's aged because he nearly starved to death on the ship, or maybe this is showing that a bit of time has passed from when he's being reunited, and then this scene actually takes place. And we can see Captain America here is wearing his non-flashy uniform. He's wearing his darker uniform, not his crazy bright uniform. And then we have this scene here where Scarlett Johansson on the right has got the longer red hair with the sort of ends being blonde. This is where there's obviously been some sort of period of time has went by. We do not see Captain Marvel here. Okay, so again, there's no Captain Marvel after, again, if my assumptions are all correct, she's flying that ship at the start. So at this point in time, it looks like time has went by. Now, it's hard to tell from this whether Tony Stark has as greyer hair here as in the other scene. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. So that next scene may be after this, maybe even more time has went on, or it may be the same. It's very difficult to tell. But we've also got Hawkeye has been recruited here, which we'll have a little look at. But we've got Nebula in the scene, we've got Rocket in the scene, we've got Ant-Man now in the scene, and we've got an aged Scarlett Johansson. Maybe aged is a bad way to put it. She's got longer hair. Time has went on. And we've got Iron Man here in this scene now. No Captain Marvel, and it doesn't look like Captain Marvel is no longer with them. And again, this looks like it's later on, and Captain Marvel's not helping them. Now, she may be, doing other stuff and distracting Thanos or whatever. She might not be dead, but it does look like she is not part of this part of the plan to join all of these people in the team to go do whatever they're doing. And you get this wide view here where they've all got the special white suits on, the suits that look a bit like what Pym was wearing in Ant-Man and the Wasp. So maybe some sort of quantum realm suits or whatever that's going on with these suits. But they've got the white suits on. It doesn't show a close-up of Captain Marvel in the white suit. It doesn't show her there. And in this, it doesn't look like she's here either. So again, it doesn't look like Captain Marvel is joining them with the white suits, where you can pretty much see all the rest of them, except for maybe the Hulk. I'm not sure if he's in, Bruce Banner's there, but everyone else has got a suit to put on. Obviously, he'd probably bust through the suit if he turns into the Hulk, so it might not be useful to put that in. And I know there's been speculation that he'll be the sort of morphed Hulk / Bruce Banner character in this film, but there's no confirmation of that in any of the trailers yet. But back to this sort of aged part, I don't think there's any scenes that look like Scarlett Johansson has the longer red hair and Bruce Banner's in them. So it may be that Bruce Banner has actually morphed into his sort of half-Hulk character at this point, and they're keeping that under wraps. Or he just might not be in the scene, but he is not really visible anywhere at all. So you see a little bit of Bruce Banner at what is presumably the very start, and then no more Bruce Banner and no Hulk absolutely at all. So that may be confirmation that he's the kind of more, I think it's called Professor Hulk, I'm not 100% sure, but the morphed character where he's kind of not an idiot and he's not 100% as strong as he was, something like that. So the sort of half Hulk, half Bruce Banner character, this may be confirmation because we just don't see him, so that might be why they're keeping that under wraps as a little secret. We see Hawkeye in the trailers as sort of, looks like he's been a bad man. Presumably his whole family's been dusted and he's sort of changed his ways a little bit. Black Widow tracks him down, and here, it's hard to tell, but Black Widow may have longer blonde hair here, or this may be her shorter blonde hair and it's just kind of bundled up, but I'm assuming it's actually longer blonde hair here and it's not actually short, but it is kind of hard to tell. And in this scene, again, we can see that Hawk is in this one, Hawkeye, and we can see that Scarlett Johansson, or Black Widow, has got the long red hair, and so this is where time has presumably went on. So it may be possible there's at least 3 different periods of time. There may be the time where she has short blonde hair, the longer blonde hair, which does exist. There are clear shots of her with longer blonde hair where she's shooting a gun at a target, and then she's got the longer red hair. So she may have the long blonde hair when she first tracks him down, and now maybe she's just dyed it red, or maybe it's actually further time and she's actually grown it out, because it does have the ends off it are blonde, so it looks like the red has grown out, and so maybe it's 3 distinct periods of time. But back where Captain Marvel is with them, where Scarlett Johansson does clearly have the short blonde hair, we see no Hawkeye here. So he could be underneath, could be in another room or whatever on the ship, but he's definitely not here, he's not visible, and I don't think Hawkeye is with them at this point in time. Okay, he's being recruited later on after they failed in this attempt. And this scene here looks like they're on the spaceship. It looks like Hawkeye is on the spaceship here, but Scarlett Johansson clearly has the red hair. So this isn't on the same spaceship, or at least not the same point in time on the same spaceship. It may be the same spaceship, but not at the same time as the other picture where she has the short blonde hair. Now, my original theory about when Ant-Man pops up, I don't think is true based on what the trailers show us, but again, they may be cut out of order, they may be misleading on purpose, but if we take the trailers as being honest, we start off with what looks to be a little bit of time has went on. This looks like Ant-Man has discovered that, I mean, he's gotten back somehow, he was trapped in the quantum realm, he's gotten back, and it looks like a little bit of time's went on. There are sort of posters on this for missing people. That's obviously not going to pop up in maybe a day. It looks like they're over top of another poster. There's a fair bit of overgrowth on this house. If this is not just a derelict house somewhere, it looks like it's perhaps been, well, more than months. I mean, this may be years. This may be the period of time where Scarlett Johansson's hair is now red and not blonde, and it looked to me like this is where he's first gotten back out of the quantum realm, and he's kind of discovering how bad things are and half the people have disappeared. But in the scene where he meets up with the Avengers, presumably he's at the Avengers base in upstate New York, he's saying, hey, I'm Ant-Man, here I am. When we see Captain America and the Black Widow talk to him, we can see clearly the Black Widow has got the short blonde hair here. So if this isn't cut out of order and this is what happens, well, he clearly joins up with them when she's got the short blonde hair. She's joining up with him at the relative start of the film. He's joining up with them at some point in time near where Captain Marvel joins up with him. Now, this could be after they've met Captain Marvel, and again, presuming what I've been through so far, they go to fight Thanos, they fail, they come back, and Captain Marvel's no longer with them, and now Ant-Man has joined up with the rest of them, which looks like everyone's there except for Captain Marvel. But it definitely looks, the way this scene is done, that he is not joining them up later in time when she has the red hair. So, which is what I thought was going on to begin with, but that's clearly not the case if the stuff in the trailers is accurate. But he is with them later on when she does have the red hair. You can see Ant-Man there right next to her, and he's obviously still with them later on. He's got the white suit on, where all the other people here you can pretty much see also have the white suits. Again, we don't see the Hulk with any kind of suit, don't see the Hulk again, and we don't see Captain Marvel with any kind of white suit. We don't see Captain Marvel again. Now, if we look at what people are wearing to try to see if there's any kind of time jump or something like that, if we look at Rocket, first of all, we can see Rocket here. He's wearing whatever that jacket is there. It looks like it's got a little bit of a sort of zipper thing at the top of it, something there at the top, and it's kind of greyish. And it looks to me to be the same thing he's wearing here in this scene here as well. So both of these look like it's from more towards the start of the movie, not towards the middle or the end or anything like that. So this looks to be where he's met up with Nebula, not when they go off to fight maybe. And in this scene here, which may be from later on, but it's a bit vague. I don't think there's anywhere that Scarlett Johansson has the short blonde hair with Iron Man. So Iron Man and Nebula may be getting back way later. Maybe they don't get back near the start of the film, so that might be happening. But here we got Rocket, and he's wearing a very different suit here. He's got some sort of grey jumpsuit with a lot of red on it. And here he is fighting with War Machine, wearing what looks to be the exact same suit after they went to fight off in this time, I suppose. So it looks to me like there's clearly like a time jump just looking at the uniforms there as well that sort of coincides with what's going on with Scarlett Johansson's hair. With what Nebula's wearing, it's a little bit harder to tell exactly what's going on. It looks fairly similar in all of the scenes. She may be wearing the same stuff all the time. She might not, though. In this scene here, she's on board the spaceship. This may be when she's on board the spaceship with Iron Man, so this may be the earliest we see of Nebula, perhaps. But the way the lighting is, we can't get a really good look because the light's coming over her shoulder and she's in a lot of shadows. But she's wearing some sort of jacket, and it may be kind of dark red or brownish. And then we have it with the group where we've got, again, the red hair for the Black Widow. And she's wearing what could be the same kind of brownish type clothes. It's very difficult to tell if that's different or if it's the same. And then we've got her here on board a ship, and she's standing next to the Iron Patriot or War Machine. And it looks a lot redder here. Now she's got some sort of things around her shoulders. They may be seat straps or seatbelt perhaps. So that's not part of what she's wearing. But it looks to be the same again, but a different kind of colour. It looks a lot brighter red. It could just be the lighting of the scene. So again, it doesn't really look like it's easy to say she's wearing something different here. But this does look to be at some sort of seating position different from being inside the general cockpit. It might be underneath that. They're looking outside. But what we've got is we don't have Rhodey or the War Machine sitting on a chair anymore. So in the other picture from the sort of start, he's got his own chair and he's not actually suited up wearing his suit yet. Now, this might just be he's moved around to put his suit on, but this looks to be a totally different time. They're on the spaceship when we didn't see Nebula on that originally. Now we have Nebula. It looks to me to be a different time that these people are on the ship, if Nebula was even on that ship to begin with. And then we've got Nebula here, presumably going to go fight Thanos, and it looks like a busted up planet like what the planet Titan looked like in the Infinity War, so probably they're back there fighting Thanos. So again, she's kind of wearing pretty much the same stuff, so from her, it's actually difficult to tell if there's any sort of time going by with what she's wearing. She looks fairly consistent with what she has, but she is also in the other scenes where she has the white suit on later on as well, but just from what she's wearing, doesn't look like a big change. Now with War Machine, it looks like he might have a slightly different suit on in these two scenes here. It might not be, but it's where he's got his helmet open, so maybe the lights on the shoulders sort of undeploy or something like that, but it looks a little bit different, so it may be possible, although it kind of looks like he's going off at the same time that we have both Nebula and Rocket with him. This may be two different points in time. This may be two different times they fight Thanos. They might fight him many times. But the suit looks a little bit different to me. Again, if it is, that would obviously mean it's happening at a completely different time. And we have Captain America here clearly wearing his very bright colours. You can see on his chest there he's got sort of red. You can see it quite easily. And then in some of the other scenes, this is one of the better shots you can see it in, he's not wearing that same one there. So he's obviously wearing a completely different uniform. Again, he's going off to fight at least two different points in time. So from all of these things, it really looks like that they are going off multiple times to go have a plan to do something, whether it's to directly fight Thanos or whether they're going through some sort of time travel, what's going on. But there's different points in time happening, particularly with what you look at with Scarlett Johansson's hair. And again, maybe there's three distinct points in time with that. She's got the short blonde hair, she has the long blonde hair, and she has the long red hair. So that may be sort of what's going on. But that at this stage looks to be what the trailers are trying to tell us, and they're also not showing us the Hulk, and we're not seeing Captain Marvel after what I assume is the start, perhaps because she's dead. Maybe Thanos steals her powers. Her power was made by an engine that was powered by the Tesseract exploding near her. He has the Tesseract, I think it was the Space Stone was out of the Tesseract, or one of the stones. So maybe all of the talk about Captain Marvel being the most powerful ever and being the key to doing this, maybe that's just being put out there to put people off the scent, and Thanos is immune to anything that Captain Marvel can actually do. And just lastly here, I was on IMDb recently looking to see if Sylvester Stallone was in Endgame, to see if his character from Guardians of the Galaxy was in it. And I noticed a few little interesting things as to what IMDb has there. Now, this may not be 100% accurate, but it is what IMDb is listing. And they've got Brie Larson at the very top. However they decide, I guess she's the most important person. She's listed top for IMDb. But if we go down a list, it's a very big list. It has a lot of people, and it's got pretty much all the people dusted as well. So, you know, whether they're back in flashbacks, whether in previous scenes, or whether obviously they're all brought back to life, who knows. But it does have pretty much most of the people that are dead, except a couple of names. So the first one I noticed was that Nick Fury isn't here. Samuel Jackson isn't actually listed on IMDb as being in the film. And so I did a little bit of a search, and yeah, seemingly he has sort of semi-confirmed he's not in the film. And there's been some speculation as to whether or not he doesn't get returned from being dusted. But he is confirmed to be in the next Spider-Man film. So he's not dead, but he may not actually be in the film. But he's not dying, he is coming back. So that's a bit of a strange one. Now, another one who's not listed is Falcon. Okay, Falcon is not listed here as being in the film, whereas pretty much everyone everywhere else associated with the Avengers is. So maybe that's an oversight by IMDb, or maybe he's dead, maybe he's not coming back at all, but he did get actually dusted. Another name that's not on the list is Doctor Strange. So Doctor Strange is not listed on IMDb as having appeared in the film, and so maybe he doesn't come back. Maybe he's actually dead. I don't think he did fantastic things with his box office, so I don't know if they'd be too worried about not making a Doctor Strange #2, but it's possible Doctor Strange isn't coming back. And Vision is also not listed here as being in the film. Now, he didn't get dusted, he actually got killed, and so he might not be getting returned with the power of the gauntlet or whatever happens in the film. He might be dead for good, but again, it might just be an oversight on IMDb's webpage, but it's possible that Vision is not coming back at all. Now, in addition to all the people that you might know, the main people, we've got the person that played the Ancient One back in the film. We've got the guy that played Crossbones. I had to go see who that was, but that was the guy that kind of fought against Captain America, and then he got busted up when the building fell on him, and he became the kind of little bad guy at the start of the next film. I think he was the bad guy in Civil War, maybe, at the start of that. And then we've got Ty Simpkins. I didn't know who he was playing, Harley Keener, but that's seemingly the little boy that's in Iron Man 3. So he's in the film, and there's a lot of sort of names like that keep popping up. So it may be a case of they're time traveling back to the previous scenes that they were in the other films, or they've just got little cameos from everyone. But I know the Ancient One is dead. She died in the Doctor Strange film. So is there a flashback of her, or is she just sort of half dead and she's in some other realm? I mean, who knows what's going on. But there's a lot of people that have just kind of appeared in bits and pieces in other films. They're listed as being in it, but again, those other people are not on this list. So this is a very large list, and they don't have the Falcon, they don't have Nick Fury, they don't have Doctor Strange, and they don't have Vision on this list. Also on IMDb's list is a 70s car girl #1. Now I thought maybe that could be a 1970s car, so it doesn't mean it's from the 1970s. But further down, there is a 1970s scientist / lab worker. So they're either going to be traveling back to the 1970s, or there's going to be a flashback to maybe it'll be Pym, Hank Pym from doing his sort of Ant-Man stuff. Maybe that'll be in the 70s, or maybe it'll show some of some of the older S.H.I.E.L.D. people from that point in time, who knows. But there's definitely something from the 1970s in the film, whether from a flashback or whether they're actually time traveling back to the 1970s. So, does Captain Marvel die early? Is it a big head fake and that Captain Marvel is the most powerful Avenger and has the key to defeating Thanos? Or is Ant-Man the one with the key and Captain Marvel is not really playing a big role in the film? We'll have to wait to see. It comes out in around about 2 weeks. Hopefully the film's good. I'll be watching it. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.